All right, y'all, we are live on this beautiful Sunday morning. God bless everybody in the name of Yeshua, Jesus the Messiah. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Guys, let's smash up the likes. We have 375 people viewing. If we can get 1,000 likes in the first half hour, we will give away $1,000. Juicy short trade. You can see right here, basically made 20K on the short from the setup given in advance in the Casper Crew VIP Discord. Told everybody when I decided to go short based on good old market cipher B, bearish divergence, and what do you know, Bitcoin has taken the lows of the range, dipping all the way down to 101.8 on KCEX, but on other exchanges, not quite so low. And we're going to be talking about the questions on everybody's mind, like, is the bull run over? Honestly, this is a pretty intense situation we have here. A wick down, making a lower low. This is the daily time frame, man. Pretty intense. Also, we'll talk about bullish and bearish scenarios. We'll talk about what we are looking for next. So make sure to smash up the likes, guys. You don't want to miss out on this Jason Casper live stream. Also, got to remind everybody that KCEX right now has the best fees. 0% make your order, 0.01% take your order. Also, KCEX, $21,000. You can claim up to 10% deposit boost bonus. All right. Plus all these other rewards you can get if you use the link. But even if you don't get these rewards, because you don't want a KYC, and I get it, it still has the best deal on fees. All right. You can literally market in, market out, make juicy profits along the way. All right. Shout out to the Casper Crew. We shorted the exact top. That's pretty crazy. That is pretty wild. That is pretty nuts. You know what? And I'll tell you this. Is the bull market over? I have to say probably not. Here's why. There's no way that this is the top. All right. Here's why. My life just doesn't work that way. I don't short the exact top. It just doesn't work that way. You know, it just doesn't work that way for me. I'm not that guy. I'm not the guy that bought Shiba Inu when it was like 0.000000000000001 cent and made $5 trillion in a week. Like, I'm not that guy. There's no way I shorted the top. There's no way, all right? Just like how when I was long from here, I said there's no way the low, there's no way this is the low. You know, that's just how the charts work, man. We got to give a major shout out to everybody in the chat right now. We got to give a shout out to Boyan. We got to give a shout out to John 316, who says it's over. Shout out to Bullish Bob. Trump dump is no bueno. Shout out to Captain Happy. Chicken, drink, water, candle, negative 99.9 for several coins. That was just amazing. I know. That was a crazy move, honestly. Blue Mountain Fire says everyone's going to be euphoric in a week and calling for $1 million Bitcoin. I hope so. Major shout out to Alex O Crypto. Shout out to Alex O Crypto. Bull run nowhere near over, you wimps, says RPM. Heath Marcher says, Jesus is king. Hope you enjoyed Shabbat. It was an excellent Shabbat. Praise God. Shout out to Lucky Jim Bob. He says, $1,000. Smash up the likes. Shout out to the Crypto Killers. Says, Jason Casper in his last live said, market is getting weaker, but this dump is insane. Well, that was a pretty crazy capitulation wick right there. Shout out to Cryptorian, who says, MM Crypto lost $11 million in an hour. Yeah, but was unrealized, right? It was unrealized. So here's the thing. I actually did take a long trade on Bybit, and here's the thing. You know, this is pretty crazy. This trade on Bybit is pretty crazy because obviously my entry sucks. But the reason why my entry sucks is because Bybit was the only exchange that actually let me trade during that dump. All the other ones, the network was closed. I couldn't trade on KCEX. I couldn't trade on BLOFIN. I couldn't get into positions here. It wouldn't let me. It said the network is congested. So I had to literally log into Bybit. I was logged out. Two-factor authentication. I had to flip through the dang chart to try and find the right thing. And obviously by the time I was able to do that, we had come up quite a bit here. But I'll tell you why I took a long trade here. All right, obviously I locked in a quick profit on that one because it was kind of a dumb move, to be honest with you. I was trying to get in lower. When I saw we were below $105,000, for me, below 105, that's like very probable we were gonna get a bounce from that. You can't just dump and take out a major range low like that without expecting something. What's funny is my entry is basically right around this last low here, which was a very key level. $105,000. This was a pretty key level on the chart, right? We did have some key support here. Obviously, we got wicks below that level, but the $105,000, this right here for me, very, very key level. So as we see like what's happening here, right, I think we do need to be aware of a few different scenarios. There are two elephants in the room right now. There are two elephants in the room. Elephant number one is this, guys. The 2-day time frame, in my opinion, looks extremely bearish. I would not be surprised if the top is in, okay? And I'll tell you why. We have ourselves a triple drive of 2-day bearish divergence, all right? Drive number one right here. Drive number two right here with money flow getting much lower, all right? Last week, when we were still above 100 and... what were we looking? Yeah, 100... what were we looking at? Yeah, as long as... I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. Last week, before this big drop, as long as we were holding above the value area high of the range, we said, you know, upside is more probable here. That was actually 120,500, right? We were getting a little bit of a bounce here. As long as we hold above 125,000, we say, you know, upside is probable. As soon as we lose this, we say there's a really big chance we come back down to the bottom of the range at around 112 to 114. Obviously, we wicked way through that. But the fact that we have changed market structure with a wick, now I know it's not the candle close, so it's not an official change of structure yet based on candle closes. But the fact that we have a triple drive of bearish divergence on the 2-day, the fact that we have even more drive of bearish divergence coming all the way back from November 2024, last year, and the money flow coming out like crazy here, as we get this really weak, try to get a new all-time high, try again, we fail. It's like, you know, I was in the gym this morning, guys. I was doing some Smith machine incline bench press, right? With the Smith machine, you can do what Bitcoin did here. You can squeeze out those last reps. You're not going to hurt yourself, right? You really squeeze it. You feel like your chest muscles are going to rip off. And every time you get one last rep, and then I got another one. Rest at the top a little bit. Rest at the top. Get a little cheat on the last rep. Maybe arch a little bit more. Take a deep breath. Brace, you know. Come down nice and slow. Keep it tight. You're pushing it. Barely moving, but it's okay because it's the Smith machine. You get that final rep, and then boom. Whew, you ain't got nothing left. That's kind of what this looks like here on the dang 2-day time frame. Okay? I would not be surprised if the top is in. I'll tell you why. We're in those last few months of the 4-year bull run. And this time is different with all these big breakouts that we've had here. Historically speaking, when we break out of the dang range, there's no question. It's a big old breakout. All right, this time we've had the range here. There was question like, I don't know, okay, we got a back test. That's pretty cool. Okay, good. Back test. We make a higher high. That's great. Boom. It's not like it was last times. All right. Now I'm just saying how it is. You know, this really could be the top for Bitcoin for a while. All right. Let's go to the weekly. What do we have on the weekly? More bearish divergences here. Right. We have 10 hours until we confirm another bearish div on the weekly. All right. Look at the last time we confirmed a bear div on the weekly. We got many weeks of downside. Let's go to the 2-weekly. We've got some bearish divs already confirmed here. Let's go to the monthly. We just confirmed a bearish divergence on the month with September's close. All right. This is not the strongest looking chart right here, to be honest with you. All right, so that being said, I'm not going to close this short. I'm not going to take any more profit. I'm going to hold this. I got to take profit. You guys are going to think I'm crazy, man. I'll tell you where my take profit is. Oh, we can't see it. Let's see. Do I have it? No, actually, I don't have it. I took it off. I took it off because I lowered the leverage on this account because I was looking for a long trade that I needed low leverage for to kind of like sneak into a long, but I couldn't do it. But anyway, I'm looking to take this below 50K. All right? I'm not going to take any profit in this trade until we're below 50K. I'm just saying. All right? I'm just throwing it out there. You know, you guys, haters going to hate, man. I'm not saying we're going to 50K. I'm just saying I'm not taking profit on this trade unless we go to 50K. Here's why. I already made 20 grand on the dang trade. All right? I'm already made 20 grand. It's a small position. I might as well just hold the dang position. Either I make 20 grand. I mean, look at my entry. It's pretty much the exact top. I either make 20 grand or I hold it and it just happens to be a bear market and then I make a lot more. And then I'll buy Bitcoin and ride it up to $500,000, right? That's the bearish scenario. Now, is there a silver lining here? Yeah, there is a silver lining. First of all, people are very bullish on Bitcoin in general. And I'm sure there's a lot of people who look at this dump as a great opportunity for buying. In addition to that, we came down to a very key area of support on the chart and got a bounce. Okay, and we closed the daily candle well above that level. This wick to the downside was caused by major liquidations that just gave us that big, fast drop, right? It's not like we saw actual, like, bearish selling here. This is just, you know, the downside led to leveraged traders getting liquidated, which led to more and more and more liquidations. We saw exchanges go down. Coinbase was kind of down for a while there. I know, you know, KCEX was down. BLOFIN was down. Bybit was up, man. Shout out to Bybit. But when we look at this, I'm going to put a line on the chart, all right? This is the good news. This is the bullish scenario now, all right? So we can turn our frowns upside down. We came back to pretty much backtest this beautiful resistance flip going all the way back to December 2024. We go ahead, we put a little fixed range volume profile right here. We bounced perfectly from, at least on Bybit, the value area low of the previous range here. So, you know, we have this volume zone between the POC and the value area low. We literally bounced perfectly from the dollar of that previous range value area low. And we close the candle back above. And if we look at this chunk here as a sideways range, where this is our clearly defined high, and this is our clearly defined low right here, what have we done? Well, we've done a liquidity run of the highs, we've done a liquidity run of the lows, we've cleared everything out, we've flushed the dang toilet, we got our plunger out, the plunger smells good. How's it taste? Nothing like a little taste of the plunger on a Sunday morning. Now, if we take a look at Market Cypher B on the daily, check this out. All right, you guys seeing what I'm seeing? Are you guys seeing what I'm seeing? Extremely bullish divergence. Extremely bullish divergence here. 2-day time frame. Extremely bullish divergence. 8-hour time frame. Now it's not looking as bullish, right? Now it's not looking as bullish. But we do have very, 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 very oversold momentum. Technically speaking, we got some hidden bull div if we're taking it back from June, right? Let's go to our 12-hour. 12-hour has a pretty, I'm not picking my nose, I'm itching it. 12-hour has actually some really nice bullish divergence as well here, okay? Now, money flow is Money flow is But do not discount a high time frame bullish divergence here. I would assume after a drop like this, we can expect some upside just based on the fact that there's a lot of people who've been waiting to buy Bitcoin on a drop like that. All right? A lot of people believing we're never going to see under $100,000 again, which they're wrong, by the way, are looking at this as a good place to buy. So, that being said, what would I personally be looking for here? Well, I'll be honest with you. Whenever you get a capitulation wick like this, you need to be very cautious because on Bybit, we came down to 102,355. On KCEX, we came down to 101,700. On Coinbase, we came down to 107. Okay? Coinbase did really what... Coinbase is the chart that really it happened what was supposed to happen. What was supposed to happen was we were supposed to just take the lows, just like how, just like how we took the highs. It wasn't supposed to be a big wick down to like 101. But whenever you see a wick like this, that where all the exchanges are different, a lot of times you'll notice that we will come back and fill the wick, right? We will come back and fill the wick. And in this instance, I would watch what Coinbase does, all right? I would be paying attention to the wick on Coinbase, because I'd say the Coinbase spot chart right here is the chart. How do I even say this? I feel like it's the most accurate chart, right? This, in my opinion, this is the chart that did what was supposed to happen without the massive amount of liquidations that artificially pushed price down with that big wick, an extra $5,000-$6,000. You know, we were supposed to just come back to the bottom of the range here, take the liquidity, and then get a move up. So I would be watching the Coinbase chart right now. The Coinbase chart, as you notice, this value area here, we are struggling to get above, all right? $112,000. A hold above $112,000 on Coinbase is going to be a very, very key level, which will allow us to get moved to the upside, right? But it's a weekend. This happened on a Friday evening, okay? And so, yeah, we do need to be prepared and aware of basically coming back down to fill this wick before another move to the upside. Now, what else happened on this way down? I mean, look at how fast it was crazy. My uncle was visiting from out of state, and I told him, because I had taken along here in the Casper crew, you guys know, I entered a long trade at the high volume node of the range, and I said, you know, this is it, basically. And I said, I'm entering with 1/3 of my position size, looking for a mini range to form, and if we get another drop, I'll be looking to add to it. But when we got another drop, I said, I'm closing this thing, because I didn't see anything bullish there, and I'm glad I closed it, because boom, we come right down. And I told my uncle, we just lost 117. We're going down to the bottom of the range. He's like, how do you know? He's very skeptical about trading, especially trading Bitcoin. He's very skeptical. And I showed him, look, I think it's going to happen tomorrow, I said. And then it happened right then and there. But, yeah, I would be watching the Coinbase chart here. And to come down again to 107, and maybe even see another low come in here, you know, as long as we are not above $112,000, you know, and we're stuck in this little area here, I am not opposed to seeing either a double bottom here or even a lower low or something like this, okay? The next thing we need to be aware of here are the single prints that we left behind, which I don't know if there are any because I haven't looked yet, but let's put on the TPO chart. Yeah, okay, so we do have some single prints really along the way up here, and they will all be filled back at 120.5. So, wow, 120.5, guys, this is the value area high of our range. All right? That means this. We have some very key levels of support and resistance right now to be aware of on the chart. Okay. Yeah, I'd say that our value area high, right around this area here, is going to be extremely important resistance. And if we do get a move back up there, which we very well may, be aware of this scenario happening now, right? We come up, we reject from the range high, and we actually continue down. Be aware of that. All right, it will be a classic head and shoulders pattern. People are going to be saying, oh, we're so back, we're so back, we're so back. And we might be. I'm not saying we're not. I'm just saying this is an area where, believe you me, I am going to be looking to short Bitcoin if I see any reason to short. All right, the back test of 120 to 120,500. Very, very important resistance right now. It's an extremely important resistance after a big drop like this. As for looking for like a long trade here, you know, there's a few ways we could approach this right now, and I'm not going to get into all of them right now. But I would say what intrigues me the most, especially looking at the Coinbase chart, would be to maybe make another low even, like maybe come down to 105 where we have this high volume node from the previous range. Get everyone super bearish, and then we just get the reclaim, and then we could come up, right? I would absolutely be very interested. That's a very key level, 105,000 right here. Super key. This is the high volume node of this May, June, July range. And that would get everybody very, very bearish. After a wick like this, and remember, this wick is kind of fake here, I mean, in general, because it was caused by massive amounts of liquidations, right? So get everyone really bearish, and then if we reclaim 107.2 on a weekday, I'd say that's actually a pretty good long trigger right there. That's a pretty good long trigger to take it up to, once again, around 120.5, give or take. That's a pretty good risk to reward ratio as well. Obviously, this is hypothetical, right? Because we don't know exactly what the price is going to do. But if we see a dip down below 107 and we're bouncing from 105, the high volume node, and then we reclaim 107, that's a pretty good risk to reward. Let's pull the fib, the hypothetical fib here. Yeah, I mean, still, the area between the 618 and the 786 is right around that value area high as well. So yeah, this would be a pretty good, in my opinion, kind of setup right here, where, you know, once we're back up in this zone here, is this going to be the make it or break it zone? This is going to be either where we make another lower high and continue in a downtrend, or we see the reclaim, probably get some kind of a flag, and then break out, right? One of those two things is going to happen. So as a trader here, I'm definitely looking for a long, definitely going to be taking some profit when we're coming up to this zone, definitely going to be holding a portion of the trade in case massive pump, definitely going to be looking for a short from here, all right? And yeah, for long trades down here, there's always a million ways we could get in. I'd say it's probably best to wait until Asia opens tonight. You know, it's still a weekend, and weekend price action cannot be trusted. I am curious to see where we have any CME gaps, if any, right now. You know, the indicator isn't working, my friends. You know what? I think I'm going to turn off the indicator and turn it back on. Sometimes that works. Where is it? CME gap here. Aha. Aha. Aha! Okay, look at this, man. We have a CME gap at 116.974. All right, 116.974 CME gap. This is beautiful, actually. This is beautiful. We have single prints that will be filled. Where's them? Where's those dang single prints? Hang on. Yeah, we have single prints up there too. There's a lot of reason why we would expect a move to the upside after a drop like that. And to be honest with you, obviously the best way to get into a long would really, in my opinion, the easiest way would be come down, tap into 105, reclaim 107, and then pump. The other ways to get in, you know, we all know the ways. You pull the Fibonacci golden pocket from the low to the high. We're actually already bouncing from it as we speak here. So the only other place to look to get in would be a dip down to like the golden pocket area, the 786 area. But the best way is to honestly fill the whole wick and honestly make another lower low. Because if we make another lower low there, we would be forming some nice looking bullish divergences on our 4-hour time frame. If we make another lower low, like think about how the chart would look. Right, we're bouncing from 105. The 4-hour chart would look like this. Big old fashioned uneven butt cheek coming on in, you know. And the daily time frame would look like this, which it already looks like, bullish divergence. Right? That would just be more confluence for a juicy trade here. If we come down a little bit lower. And then, of course, you know, there's a billion ways to get into a trade. I'm not going to go into all of them here because we can't. Right? We'll do that in the Casper Crew VIP Discord tomorrow. Right? In the Casper Crew, where we make a plan and then we let you guys know what we're doing. All right? Like when I took the short. Also, you know, I did take the long from here. And I did tell the community. And we did make money on it, obviously, after our TP1 was hit. We made money on the long. We made money on the short. All right? But obviously that long is closed out. That long did get closed out. in profit. But the short is still open. And right now we're up about 20K on the short. All right, so that is pretty much the deal with the Bitcoin here. I have to say that I am feeling more bearish than I have in a very long time here for Bitcoin. And the reason is simply because of the 2-day bearish divergence. This 2-day time frame looks absolutely terrible. It looks horribly bearish. We have seen for the past year the bear divs forming, and this time is different than other times because we tried 3 times to break out. 3 times we're unable, all right? So the first sign of strength, in my opinion, for upside has to be a daily close above 112. And then we have the CME gap up at around 117. 117 to 120, that's key resistance. All right, we're going to have to take it level by level. Level by level, all bass and no treble. We got to give a major shout out to everybody in the chat. We got about 1,100 people in the house, 250 likes. Can we get the likes up to the watchers? If we do, you know what? I'll do a giveaway. We got to give a major shout out to Trader Geo, man. Trader Geo is probably, in my opinion, I can't say he's the best because that's you know, I don't know if he's the best. He's one of the best YouTube traders in the world. All right, I love Trader Geo. I love Trader Geo. All right, I'll be honest with you. I've got a little bit of a man crush on you, bro. Trader Geo. He's an entertainer. He's a singer. You know, he's just a funny guy. I like the way you carry yourself, Trader Geo. You're the man, bro. And he's a great trader. We also got to give a major shout out to Alex O in the chat. Another amazing trader. Trades live. See, Alex O, also one of the best crypto traders out there, man. On YouTube. These channels are like diamonds in the rough, guys. If you're not subscribed, I don't know what you're doing. Also, we got to give a major shout out to Crypto Crank. Another diamond in the rough, amazing YouTube channel. All right. Make sure to go check out these YouTubers, guys. If you are into trading, seriously, check them all out. All right. Major shout out to Aaron G holding it down with the wrench. Shout out to Jennifer Mofeet. Shout out to Hossein Koz. We in Asia wait for US. You in US wait for Asia. I know. Isn't it funny? No matter where you live in the world, the trade you're waiting for will not happen in your time zone. All right. No matter where you live in the world, the trade you're waiting for will not happen in your time zone. Crypto Crank needs to get his reputation up on YouTube. He's a newer channel, guys, but honestly, Crypto Crank is the man. Crypto Crank is the man. Yeah, let's pump up the likes, guys. Let's pump up the likes. Let's take a look at some other assets, too, because we had some insane dumpages. Look at Ethereum here. Oh, my goodness. So, this is insane. ETH came all the way down to the POC of the range. And so, yeah. I'll tell you guys, do I want the top to be in? I don't, because I hold a lot of Ethereum myself, honestly. I hold a lot. I hold a lot of ETH. Was really hoping for all-time highs so I could sell. But here's the deal. $4,000 ETH right now. That is such a key level. If we cannot reclaim, that is not good. It's such a key level. Why? This is the value area high of the past year, basically. I mean, even more than that, right? Going all the way back to March 2024. If we pull it all the way back to 2021, all right, that $4,000 level is the value area high going all the way back to 2021, all the way back to the previous all-time high. Ooh, this is quite interesting. If we pull it from the all-time high, we're actually bouncing from the value area high. But every other pull on this, really, we are below that level. That is not a good look for ETH. I'll tell you, we need to reclaim 4,000, okay? Let's start on the weekly. We don't really have anything here on the weekly. Let's go to the 2-day. We maybe have a bull div on the 2-day. We really need to see a big pump above 4,000 for that to be worth anything. Same with the daily. Money flow coming down. These bull divs that are potentially forming here on the daily for Bitcoin and ETH, We need to see fast action for these to actually be legit. Otherwise, these momentum waves do have more room to the downside. 4 hour. Man, it doesn't look the best here, does it, guys? I would say this about ETH, all right? Just like how, like, I'd be interested in Bitcoin filling that wick. Look at how ETH here, we didn't take that low at 33.51 on Bybit. I'd be very interested to see ETH also fill the wick. And then, because this is the POC, this is a very high volume node, a very key level. Then we could see some bullish divergence on our 4 hour here. And if we see that, well, then we could expect to move to the upside. But just like Bitcoin, we would need to be aware of a lower high happening, right? We would need to be aware of a lower high. And that lower high would probably be coming in around, let's go ahead and pull our range here. Probably would be coming in around 4,300 up to 4,650. The area between the golden pocket, the 786, the POC, and the value area high. You know, we would need to be really careful of a potential lower high coming in right here. Yeah. This is a pretty intense time for the charts. I mean, man, the last time we saw a capitulation wick like this, guys, it did lead to more downside. And again, I don't want to be a bear, okay? I'm not Trader Geo. But I can't help but look at these charts and these bearish divergences that have confirmed now with actual change of market structure. That's a big difference between having a bearish divergence in an uptrend, which is inevitable, and having confirmed bearish divergences with changes of market structure, right? It's different. I'm much more cautious. I'm much more hesitant to look for a new all-time high. I'm not saying it can't happen, because anything can happen. But unless we see some big stuff happen this week, this is a pretty big level lost. 4,000 is a pretty big level lost that we did not reclaim. And that is a pretty big level lost that we did not reclaim. Let's check out Sol. Sol, interestingly enough, if I'm not mistaken, is bouncing from the key fib zone. If we pull our fib from that low to the high, we're bouncing from the golden pocket. So that is one good thing. And we're still inside the sideways range here on Solana. Right? We have not broken out. We have not broken down from the range. This is still good. I would say the same as I said for the others. Like, you know, coming back down to historic support, 130, that would be a really good place, in my opinion, to look for a bounce. We took all the liquidity. This is actually pretty nice. How we had this channel. We took all the liquidity. We bounced from a nice area of volume that we had right around here. Right? Look at that. It's pretty nice. That's a pretty nice support on Solana. That is a pretty nice support on Sol. Let's check out our weekly time frame on Sol. So I'll tell you what I don't like about the weekly. What I don't like is that we didn't make another higher high here. You know, we have our multiple drive of bear div, right? Drive number 1, drive number 2. We have a nice big bottom, a nice awesome support. You would expect a move to the high. We didn't get it. We made a lower high, and we have a trigger wave with the money flow coming out here. Not the best look. Not the best look. Again, anything is possible. And here's something else. There's a lot of bullish sentiment in crypto right now. And I'm sure a lot of people are looking at this we're looking at this as a good discount. The problem is, were people able to buy here? Probably not. A lot of people were able to buy during this dump. So that's why I think the best thing to see now for an opportunity would to see these prices come back down to fill these wicks and then see what happens there. See the market's reaction from there. You know? Let people see what happens when we come back to here again, you know? Especially watch what happens with the Bitcoin price. Like I said, if we do come down and we're bouncing from like 105 on Coinbase, I think that could be a good opportunity. If we're bouncing from this weekly order block here on Bybit, you know, like 100,000, maybe the front run 100,000 a little bit. It could be nice as well. Could be nice as well. But only time will tell, and we're going to really have to wait and watch and see if we have a valid setup when we come down to one of these levels. I'm not saying to buy here because, like I said, this is not the most bullish looking thing that we've seen happen here. So yeah. Yeah. We got the likes. We got 370 likes. That's not so bad. That's not so bad. All right, we got to give a major shout out to our super chat in the house. Daddy Casper, can you look at Sol? Yeah, I did look at Sol. Let's take a look at XRP. Look at XRP. Wow. Isn't that crazy? XRP down to $1.19 and $1.20. That is crazy. That's actually pretty cool. You know, look at this. Look at this. That's actually pretty cool. And XRP, would you look at that buyback? That's nice. That is a nice weekly candle on XRP. That is a nice buyback on XRP right there. You know, cleared the range low. This does have the potential. All these coins, this dump does have the potential to give us fuel for new all-time highs on everything. And I am hoping that that's what happens. But also the reality is this could be the beginning of something much more bearish. Okay? So my plan, my actual plan here is, as far as my trading goes, is to assess the situation in real time, level to level. As far as my spot plans go, well, if you follow the channel, you know I'm already mostly out of Bitcoin. My last big sell in Bitcoin was 120,000. I sold 60K, 80K, 100K, 120K. So I'm already mostly out of Bitcoin. I'm going to be holding my altcoins until new all-time highs. So maybe I'll hold them forever. Or maybe we do get a big old pumperoni and queso, man. In which case, I'll be a very happy man. Those are my two plans. My spot plan, nothing. Do nothing. My leverage trade plan is wait for key levels and take the trades as they come, like we do in the Casper crew. We make our plan every single day. If we see a good trade, we take it. All right? So that's what we do in the Casper crew at JasonCasperTrading.com. Best trading community in the world. Myself, 3 instructors every single day, giving you our plans, letting you know what we're doing in the real time. Also, guys, make sure to check out KCEX. Best deal on fees. I mean, honestly, 0% limit order, 0.01% market order, 0% withdrawal fees. It's crazy. You can withdraw with no fee. I mean, KCEX right now, the reason why they're doing this is because they want people on their exchange. Just like how Bybit. Remember how Bybit used to... Remember how Bybit used to pay you for taking a trade? You'd limit order, they'd give you a rebate. They'd literally pay you for using their exchange because they wanted traders, and now that they're like established and awesome and huge, they like charge you an arm and a leg to open up a position. KCEX right now, they're in that new phase, you know? They're in that new phase. It's a new dating relationship. They're putting their best foot forward. Right? Bad idea though, because you know when you put your best foot forward all the time, then you have no room to improve. You can only get worse. But for right now, KCEX is in that honeymoon phase. Everything about KCEX is awesome. You can't find one bad thing about them. You know? Can't find one bad thing about them right now. You know, you're just infatuated. You go home, you're thinking about KCEX all the time. Can't stop thinking about KCEX. You know, had such a good time on our last date. It was so fun. Went out for pizza. It was the best pizza I ever had. Man, I do love pizza. Also, guys, KCEX has the deals, man. Honestly, man, I mean, I don't know. I'm sorry, I keep talking about KCEX. I really do like the exchange, man. It's got some 2023 MEXC vibes. All right, I'm also trading on WEEX and BLOFIN. I'm also, obviously, I'm trading on Bybit too. But, you know, I don't trade on Bybit very much anymore. But Bybit is the best, let's be honest. You can't go wrong on Bybit. Can't go wrong on Bybit, man. You know what was crazy? Did you guys see the USDT chart during all this stuff? Did you see the USDT chart during all this craziness? I guess people were trying to FOMO back into people were trying to FOMO back into Tether, man. Look at this. Look at this. This is during the crash. This is Tether against the dollar. Look at this, man. This is the 12-minute chart. We saw like literally like a 7% pump on USDT. And the only reason I know this is because I set alerts on USDT so that I can short and long USDT when it depegs. I didn't actually get to do that, but you know, not financial advice, but honestly, if you like set like limit short orders like at like $1.05, $1.06, you know, limit short orders with the take profits back down at $1, it's kind of easy money. I'm just saying there. It's actually kind of easy money. It doesn't happen very often, but you can see, like for example, we came down to 98 cents on Sunday, October 5th. You know, you just set little orders here. The big problem is this. I mean, make sure you're not doing it on super high leverage, right? Because the truth is, you know, these spikes, they're big percent moves because everything's based on, you know, it's Tether. So do it low leverage. You know, set some limit shorts, some limit longs, and then set your take profits back at zero. Not financial advice, but you can see these spikes here periodically. It's pretty easy money. It's pretty guaranteed. You know, nothing's guaranteed in trading, okay? Nothing is guaranteed in trading. Shout out to Preparing for War. He says, Crypto.com CEO calling for investigations of exchanges. Looks like more regulation may be coming. That sucks. That sucks. Why are we investigating exchanges? You know, if somebody wants to trade on a shady leverage exchange where they let you use 500x leverage and they don't ask for your name, you should be willing to accept the risk that if people are using 500x leverage, there could be a crazy liquidation wick. Also, if you're responsible and you're using a dang stop loss, it's ridiculous. All right? It's absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, more regulation probably coming for sure. It's so ridiculous. Guys, I mean, it's so funny how the crypto space has changed from we hate the government, we hate regulation, to now people in the space love the government, they love BlackRock, they love TradFi, they love regulation. I mean, I understand why, because we're all greedy and we want money, and we understand that in the short term, regulation will make us more money. Just make sure you're ready to get off the train before it's too late and you're in some kind of weird dystopian slave system on the blockchain. You know? Pro traders use mental stop losses. I don't know, Sweet Papa Willow. If they're right there at the chart, maybe. And if you were right there at the chart, you could have flash closed your trade, I guess. But here's the thing. If you're away from the chart, you got to put a dang stop loss. Your stop loss didn't work, says RaveZA. That does suck. That's true. What is a stop loss? We don't know. We don't know. What happens when the exchanges skip stop losses? I guess that's a different story. That is a different story. But here's something else. In all seriousness, if you are leverage trading, you are assuming the risks involved, right? You're assuming the risks involved. If you're wiped out from one liquidation, okay, it depends on the situation, but in general, you're probably doing it wrong. In general, you're probably doing it wrong. Unless you're in a low leverage trade with a lot of margin and a responsible stop loss, and price dumps so much that like your low leverage trade gets stopped out, that is pretty scammy. But You know, if you're using higher leverage, you should not be like, you should not, in my opinion, you should not be putting all your margin up on the trade. Like, that's why we have leverage in the first place, so we can leverage up our tiny bits of capital so that if something crazy does happen, we're not really out of the game. You know what I'm saying? Do I think Bitcoin is more of a TradFi asset now? It's definitely more of a TradFi asset now than it was before the ETF and before the CME futures market in 2018. Yeah, it's heading more and more that way. Now that governments are recognizing it and using it and all that, absolutely, you know? Absolutely. I mean, the crypto space has been co-opted, guys. 100%. It's not what it used to be. And that's fine, as long as you understand why you're here, right? The people who are in crypto for freedom, I'm sorry, but you're being led into a trap. The people who are in crypto to make some money so that you can buy things that will lead to your freedom, like land and animals and planting gardens and building up your local communities so that you don't need the big government. You guys are in it for the right reasons. You know what I'm saying? Too many people look at crypto as a means to an end. It's not going to give you financial freedom. Crypto is not going to give you financial freedom. It's going to bring financial slavery. Because look at what's happened. Look at how governments are on board. Look at how big corporations are on board now. They're not going to let you have a peer-to-peer currency where you can do whatever you want. The regulations are going to force you into these cattle pens where if you want to use Bitcoin and if you want to use crypto, you're going to have to do it in the way they say, and that's going to be where everything is tracked. Everything is tracked. All right? And if a certain government power comes into office and they think you're driving too much, it's bad for the environment. Well, guess what? When you go to the gas station, your currency won't work. And they say, you're eating too much red meat. It's bad for the environment with those cow farts. Well, guess what? Your currency won't be able to buy meat. That's how it's going to be. All right? Yeah, we're heading in that direction big time. Big time. All right? All right, so Rad D Great says the bull run is over. Yeah, if you want to be free, you have to be self-sustainable. So everything we do here should be a means to becoming more self-sustainable, in my opinion. Like, you know, the reason I got into crypto in the first place is so that I could preserve and increase my purchasing power so that I could live off grid, you know? So I could live off grid. So I could have solar power, so I could have well water, so I could have animals, build barns, enrich the soil, have gardens, all that kind of stuff, right? That's why I got into this in the first place. It's weird how so many people I come across, they have this ambiguous goal of being rich. But the reality is the number on the screen does not change your life in any way. It has the potential to, but it doesn't unless you actually do something about that number on the screen, which means take that number off the screen and put it into something tangible and real that enriches your life. I mean, we're human beings. We're meant to be out there in the real world. The cliche term of touch grass. I mean, it's legit. Have you guys ever, I'm sure a lot of you have, right? But do you know how much better you feel if you're in contact with the earth every day? You go out in the dirt, touch the dirt, barefoot. It's so good for you. Do you ever go out first thing in the morning barefoot on the grass and watch the sunrise and just sit there quietly? It'll do something to you, you know? But we're also involved in these numbers on the screen, man. It's crazy. It's an easy trap to fall into. I fall into it as well. Preparing for wars in crypto to prepare for war. That's what's up, man. You know? Shout out to Crypto Clown World. Shout out to Memory Man. Shout out to Al Jr. I'm a trader, man, and thanks to Frankie, you, and other good streamers, I quit my day job and now trade only. That is amazing. Praise the Lord, bro. Praise the Lord. Yeah, barefoot and connected, grounded. Yeah, there's something about that. There really is something about that. You live in a city. I'm sorry to hear that. Sorry to hear that. You're a landscaper with hay fever. It's love-hate. Yeah, I would imagine that if it's your job. Memory Man's preparing for peace. I'm preparing for peace too when the Lord returns. When the Lord returns. When the Messiah returns, says of the increase of his government and of his peace, there will be no end. Lemarbe hamisra'ul shalom ein ketz. Thoughts on Trump's tariff stimulus payments? That would boost the market for a dead cat bounce. I think it's very possible, right? I do think it's very possible. For sure. Stop picking my nose and digging in my mouth. Am I doing that? Sorry, man. Can't help it. But you know what? A little nose picking's good for you too. We're too sanitary. Alright, we're too sanitary. A little nose picking. A little good old nose picking. You know what I'm saying? Little good old nose picking. What do I think of the 12-hour single print just below the April lows? I don't know. I never really looked at a 12-hour single print just below the April lows. So let's check it out. I don't ever use the 12-hour for single prints. I don't know if I see it actually, to be honest. I don't know what exchange you're using here. This is the April low here, so we'd have to go back to this zone here. Oh, is it this? 72? Yeah, I mean, interesting. It's a nice level. We could see it happen. We could see it happen. I mean, you know, we could see it happen. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. All right. You're gonna squeeze my short, says Todd. All right, go for it, man. I made 20 grand on it. Go ahead, squeeze it, bro. All right, guys, I'm gonna head out. May the Lord Jesus bless each and every one of you. I will be back. I'm gonna start streaming in the afternoons again, guys. I'm gonna start streaming in the afternoons during the week. All right, we're gonna get back to our old stream schedule. We're gonna make it a party up in here. All right, I'm gonna fix my audio so we can do the pump song. We're gonna get back to it. That being said, God bless you guys, and I'll see you, Lord willing, tomorrow. Peace.